Hey everybody, Lindsay Dam with OnlineFertilityCoach.com here, talking to you today about fertility and digestion. What these two seemingly completely different systems have to do with each other. And while you're right, they are two completely different systems in the body. They are very integrated. Without digestion, we're going to have a really hard time having successful fertility. So as a nutritional therapy practitioner, one of the first things that I look at always when working with a new client is digestion. So simply put, digestion is the breakdown and absorption of nutrients that we consume through our food and our beverages. So if we have suboptimal digestion function, we are going to have a really hard time breaking down those nutrients and then absorbing them so we can utilize them. So all those nutrients we put into our bodies, those are the building blocks for all metabolic processes of everything in our body, from our muscle tissue to our cells to our hormones and our enzymes. So it's really, really important to make sure that we're breaking down those foods that we're putting into our body. You could have the healthiest diet and be taking the best supplements, but if you're not breaking them down and if you're not absorbing them, then you're really not getting anything from there. So from a nutritional therapy standpoint, digestion is absolutely paramount to the proper functioning of everything in the body. So again, as far as fertility goes with digestion, if we are not breaking down our foods properly, we're not going to have the nutrients in order to be able to sustain a pregnancy and carry one. But we're also going to greatly impact the health of either our egg cells or the sperm cells for the man or the donor. So very important to make sure that digestion is functioning as properly as it can. And it doesn't have to be 100%. I've had digestive issues my whole life. I'm 34 weeks pregnant. So, just improving your digestive function can make a huge difference in your ability to conceive and to carry a child. So, what I want to talk today to you about are just some of the common signs and symptoms and causes of impaired digestion, and then some real simple ways that you can improve them, starting with your next meal. So in today's society, stress is rampant. It's everywhere, and stress is one of the main things environmentally that impairs our digestion. So if you think about it, particularly with people in the 20s and 30 years of age, the workforce is taking a very drastic change. Oftentimes we don't leave work at work. It comes home with us. We still have things that we have to work on. I think there's so many new types of jobs out there. It's very different than it was 50 years ago. And as a result, so are fertility numbers. So stress is huge. Oftentimes in our Western societies, we're go, go, go. There's always something to do, always something to work on, always another deadline or a meeting or presentation that we have to prepare for. And so we're stressed out oftentimes. Now, that alone impairs our body's ability to digest food because our nervous system is in a different state than it needs to be in order to digest our food. I'm not going to get into too much of the sciencey details about that today because that'll just take up too much time. However, I promise you, being stressed out when you're eating will completely impact and diminish your body's ability to break down and absorb your nutrients. So, one of the most simple things you can do in order to improve your digestion, even on the busiest days, is to sit down. Just sit down when you eat instead of pacing around, trying to think about the next thing to do or how you're going to word this on your presentation. Just sit down. That alone will start to switch your nervous system from a sympathetic state to a parasympathetic state so that your organs can function. Another name for sympathetic state is your fight or flight state. When you're stressed out, you're in fight or flight mode. Doesn't matter how big or small, if you're in fight or flight mode, you're not able to digest your food. The opposite of fight or flight mode is rest and digest, also known as the parasympathetic state. Much more easy to remember rest and digest. And right there, rest and digest. If you're in fight or flight, you are not in rest and digest. You're in either one or the other. So in order to break down and improve your digestion, I want you to sit down. The next thing I want you to do is take a couple deep breaths. That's all, right there. Probably with one deep breath, you'll feel your mind just kind of start to melt. That's your body starting to switch from fight or flight to rest and digest. Now, the third thing I want you to do, this is really important, and once you start thinking about it, you'll probably realize you weren't very good at it to begin with. But chew your food. Those three things right there are going to change your world. So sit down, take a couple deep breaths, and chew your food. Try to take up to 30 chews per bite of food. It is far healthier to take a couple bites of food, chewed very thoroughly, rather than to scarf down that whole burger or salad or whatever it is you're eating without chewing it at all. So digestion actually starts up here, and our teeth are there for a reason. They're up here in our mouth for a reason. They're not down in our stomachs. So we got to use our teeth in order to break down food so that your stomach can do its job. So again, it's far healthier to eat a couple bites of food chewed really thoroughly than it is to scarf down a whole meal without it being chewed at all. You will feel a huge difference, and once you start chewing your food really thoroughly, you're going to realize you really don't need to eat nearly as much food as you were eating before, and you're going to feel a lot better after you do. So we need to improve our digestion in order to improve our fertility. Once we improve digestion, you're going to be starting to break down and absorb those nutrients necessary to balance your hormones and improve your internal environment so that you can carry a child to full term. And even before carrying a child to full term, you're going to be able to conceive that child. So in order to improve your digestion so that you can conceive and carry to full term, I want you to sit down, take a couple deep breaths, and chew your food. That will change your world, I promise you. And if you start coming to me and working with me, those are the things that I start every single person on. So we're just going to have a much bigger head start. You're going to start to feel better right away, I promise you. So start with that today at your very next meal. Let me know how it goes. If you want some more information, some free information, make sure you head on over to my website at www.onlinefertilitycoach.com and sign up for my newsletter. In there, you will get a lot more information, things you can do starting at home that don't cost anything that will improve your fertility. You'll also get special access to all sorts of other offers that are only offered to our email subscribers. So again, head on over to onlinefertilitycoach.com, sign up for our newsletter, and start improving your fertility with your next meal today. Thanks so much for watching.